Well, welcome back to Virginia this morning. According to Nitro, current U.S. student loan debt is at an estimated, oh, get this, over 1.5 trillion with a T dollars. I don't even know what that means, but we're going to find out. That's approximately 1 in 4 Americans have student loan debt.
25% borrowers haven't had to make payments on student federal loans since the CARES Act was signed into law March of 2020, but that's scheduled to come to an end September 30th. Our next guest, always plugged into the financial world. She joins us today with some helpful financial insight. Richmond money expert JB Bryan back on our live show. Good morning, JP. Good to see you.
It's great to be here. And you just said 1.5 trillion, but I see numbers of 1.7 trillion.
Well, wait a minute. Who can tell the difference? All right, so
Right.
you got a million, a billion, and then trillion is next?
Billion and trillion.
Yeah, okay.
These are over billions.
Yeah.
This,
Wow.
This is a lot. And it's interesting because up till yesterday, and it's amazing that we have this discussion today, because yesterday in Congress, they were pressuring the president in order to relieve some of the school loan debt. So that is amazing. They were asking, Congress is asking for 50,000, and Biden is still asking for the 10,000 in relief for each person. But interesting that if Congress wins with 50,000 for each person with debt, that will pay off over 90% of federal debts. Now, there's a lot of private debts out there also.
That's like I see the car commercials where they say you can get 6,000 off. I'm going, how much is the car? So if they got 50,000 forgiven, how much was the loan?
A lot.
Yeah. Wow. All right. So we got until September 30th. Should people wait until that day before they start, or do you get a head start? Or how does that work?
I really hope that they've been continuing to make that payment if they're financially able during a time where no interest is accruing, because you're giving your principal that nice hit during this period. All your money is going to pay down the principal amount of the loan, or pay off something that is of extremely high interest rate, like get rid of those credit cards. Do everything you can during this time. If your finances have stayed the same, for many people, they still have the same job. So if you're still in the same situation, go out of your way to make sure you use this forbearance time of doing something to improve your financial position. Use the money wisely, or continue to make the payment.
It makes sense if you've had this point that you've
right.
had other things demanding your money and your attention. But JB, you raise a great point. We have about 60 days until this period would end. So where can you focus your efforts? Interest rates are down. What are you suggesting?
Right.
Does that impact student loans in any way?
One thing that I really should point out here is that people could make a big mistake in refinancing their federal loans into a private loan, because the interest rates that are really being pushed as being lower for student loans are the private loans. So federal loans, you cannot refinance a federal loan with the federal government. So if you refinance your federal loan, you've come out of the federal protection. And the federal loans offer you a great deal of protection that the private loans don't offer.
Okay, and is that the big difference between federal and private? Is all that protection? And maybe Congress will let some of it go.
Yeah, well, I definitely feel that there looks like there's going to be at least 10,000. But what people should do is make sure that you don't wait for this to happen. Continue to make your payments. Don't say, well, I'm not going to pay it because they're going to reduce this anyway. Because most people have a lot more than 10,000, and that's really all that Biden promised to make happen. So if the 10,000 happens and you still owe 20, then you're getting yourself ahead. But federal loans are a great opportunity because they're the only program that is actually allowing this current interest and payment waiver to borrowers. That's only for federal loans. So when you have your income in your family or yourself is too high, then you have to go to a private lender. And private lenders make sure that you have great credit because they will not loan the money to you unless you have a strong credit score. So in federal loans, you don't have to worry about the credit score. So they're also have a lot more flexibility in payment plans with federal loans. So
JB,
be very careful when you get rid of your federal loan.
we talked about a conversion from a federal loan to a private, or considering that. Is it an option to flip the other way if you or is that only at the inception of the beginning of the loan?
Great question. Only at the beginning. It cannot go from private to federal, and but you can go from federal to private, but that could be a big sacrifice. It could be a bad decision.
So one big bonus question right now, so many folks are heading back to classrooms, heading back to campuses. Things are changing right before our eyes. You probably should be paying pretty strict attention to this federal loan versus private loan as you maybe are embarking on these loans or starting this as we head back to school.
Very good point. And some people who had to get private loans before, because of COVID and the reduction in income for many people, you may now be approved for federal loans. So do the application, investigate your options before you go into student loan debt.
And I think we already know the answer. Is it always better to go from private to federal? It sounds like
It's always better to try to get a federal first.
Okay.
Always better. And their interest rates are typically better on a federal student loan. So it's better to do the FAFSA form and then see if you get approved for the federal loan. If you're not, then you go for the private option.
Okay.
Playing field is just constantly recalibrating before our eyes.
Yes.
That's why we got people like JB.
Absolutely.
Thank you for the opportunity to share. This is a great topic.
Big thank you to our friend JB Bryan, who offers free weekly money seminars and webinars every Wednesday evening and Sunday mornings. You'll find a link to more information at WTVR.com/VTM.
Great insights from JB. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Everywhere You Are. That's coming up next.